Welcome to DRZ Recovery. Job number one is to replace that engine casing over there. I'm waiting for some parts to be delivered, and as you know, this is a replacement engine. Original engine I blew up in this bike about 4 years ago. I kept it with the best intention in the world to rebuild it, and I'm still hoping one day I'll have the time and the skill to do it. But for the time being, I'm in a comfortable position to have all the replacement parts available for that engine, that including the casings. That's the original one. It comes with the aluminium case protecting cover kind of thing. It's stuck on silicone, but it's absolutely amazing. As you can see, a little bit of scratch over here from shifting because it gives you extra thickness. But if all goes well, I can just swap it over. Straight swap, 2 cables to unplug, and it should be straight swap. When the bastards stole the bike, they dropped it in the back of the van, and I'm guessing later on as well on the left hand side. As a result, the gear shifter selector pierced the engine casing right here. All the weight of the bike was leaning on that. That's quite sharp. I can probably file it down a little bit, you know, later on. But that pierced it. There's a little hole over here, which oil was leaking from here. I can repair this with liquid metal quite easily. Once it's off the bike, I can do a good job on that, and done means I have another casing for the original engine, as in when, if I ever get around to rebuild it. But for the time being, let's hope that's a straight swap and it's gonna go quite smoothly. Nothing's ever easy, but let's get it done. One thing I do want to mention here, guys, it's something that gave me a bit of a trouble finding out, you know, how to put it back together, because I took the casing off, and the idle starter gear came off with it, slide off with it, and the whole thing fell apart. And there are 2 shims, you know. There's a shim, there's a circlip, and there's another shim right over here that sits on the shaft of that gear. I don't know if you can see it, and one of the shims came off, and I wasn't sure where it was, you know, maybe on the front, maybe on the back. I wasn't sure where that's supposed to be going. I do have a manual, Heinz service and repair manual I bought for Suzuki, but I'll be honest with you guys, this is not the best manual. I'm a little bit disappointed with it because it doesn't have so many diagrams as it probably should. But then when I was reading about it, you probably need to have 2 manuals, Heinz and the other one, I can't remember the name, because what's not covering this one, it's covering the other one, but the other one missing information that this one has. So you know, we probably need to spend more money to buy 2. But this one was missing the crucial diagram for me, so I did some research online, and the other diagram says it's supposed to be put together this way: shim, the shaft, the gear, and then another shim and a circlip. But that didn't make any sense to me, because that shim is way bigger than this shaft over here. As you can see, there's a lot of movement. That's not proper engineering. That shouldn't be done like this. So I went on the Fan Protect forum, and everybody say that basically that manual diagram is wrong. You're supposed to sandwich the circlip in between the shims, which it makes perfect sense to me, because you want to protect that circlip against spinning against the case, you know, because and it's perfect fit for it. It's bang on what it's supposed to be. There's no plane, no movement, and it's sandwiched perfectly over here, and it goes right back there. And do you know what? Everybody on the forum says that manual diagram is wrong, and that's how it's supposed to be put together, so I'm gonna go with that, you know, and hope for the best. I don't think there's gonna be so much it doesn't make a huge difference, I don't think it does, but I want to do it right, and I think this is the correct way. It makes sense in my head. But what do you think? You know, if I'm guessing some DRZ, you know, maniacs watching it, so let me know, because I'm going to put it back together, but I can always take it apart, that's no problem. So that's one thing that actually took me good 3 hours to research, you know, one tiny little thing like this. But I'm hoping it goes right. Anyway, let's put it back together. Right, we're nearly there. The last thing is to replace this part over here, but the original screws, they quite badly mangled. I was struggling taking them off, and they all like this, all three are pretty much damaged. I was struggling to take them off from here originally. Luckily I got them out, but I've got a spare engine. Parts of it are right there, and I managed to find 3 identical screws, well, the same screws from a different motor, and they are much better condition, so I'm really happy. I'm going to reuse them right here. And when it comes to rebuilding the old engine, which I'm still hoping I'll be able to do at some point, but I have nothing better to do, then I'll think about replacing the old ones. But for the time being, I'll put them back in a box so everything is all together, and I'm going to carry on over here. Right, that didn't take long at all. I know it's a bit of an overkill, and I don't want to go complete mirror finish, but it will just look a little bit better. That's the only clean bike on the bike right now. But still, I'm happy with it. Let's bolt it back on. While we at it, we might as well drain the oil completely. I'm going to replace the filter, as well as the, well, fresh oil. Let's get it done. Stupid thieves managed to rip off the indicators as well in the process of stealing my bike, but that's okay, because when I was riding my Triumph Tiger on the green lanes, I obviously dropped it and I broke one of the indicators, so I bought 4 indicators to replace the front 2, and I didn't replace the rear ones because there's no need for it. So I got 2 spare indicators here, LED indicators, that I can quite easily reuse and wire in to the DRZ. I mean, why not? Already got them in the house. They're not the most stylish ones, but they will work absolutely fine. And they came with the inline resistor, so they blink in the correct rate, which is always good. Perfect timing, guys. Just changed the oil and look what just arrived. I mean, literally just now. Postman dropped it off. It's the I'm guessing it's the side panel, the plastic fairing on the side that they ripped off to get to the battery. And I managed to get one second hand for a tenner, which is pretty reasonable, I think. There we go. Not exactly very well color coded because it's white, but I'm gonna complain about it because I can deal with it. Perfect. It fits like a dream. If only it was black, you know. If I only knew somebody who can paint it for me. Oh well, I'll guess it needs to stay like this. Wait, what? How did that... Ah. Never mind. I guess we'll never know. And just like that, she's ready. She's ready for the MOT. I've done major service, you know, oils, filters, everything, you know, checked, triple checked, all the bolts, nuts and bolts, which is a good thing because I found a few things to be quite loose, and I don't think that's related to a damage. It's related to the fact I was riding her a little bit hard and some nuts just, you know, become loose, but I put markers on it and it should be right. You know, it took me less than a day, probably spread across, you know, 3 or 4 evenings, but it was less than a day of work and it didn't cost that much. It definitely cost less than the excess would cost for a insurance company. And just like this, guys, she is ready to rock and roll. I checked everything I could have checked, all the fluids, all the levels, everything seems to be straight. I double checked the torque settings on everything that is majorly important and less important. I stripped her down, put her back together again, so I'm fairly sure she's safe to ride. I'm gonna take it for a quick spin just around the corner over here, just to make sure everything is as it's supposed to be in a very controlled environment, and then I'm gonna book an MOT for her. to make her road legal again. And I'm gonna enjoy it. But there's more to it. There's more to it. There's gonna be a couple more episodes coming from this bike. Some of you that follow the channel, you know what I'm gonna do to it. But let me leave it a surprise, and you see the transformation very soon. But until then, guys, thank you very much for watching. Rock hard, have a beer, and we'll see you very soon.